Hey, how's it going? My name's Ukiyo. I'm a producer in Perth, Australia, and I've been active for about 4 or 5 years now, making music under my own name and a little bit of writing for others. I just released my debut album, which is self-titled. You can see it up in the back there. But yeah, I thought I would run through how I produced some of the songs and just kind of the stories of how they came to be. So the first one I wanted to do is Equi, which as far as I know is a completely made up name. But it kind of came from the concept of like everything being in balance and kind of like the equal and opposite forces, I guess, which sounds a bit too deep. But it was kind of just like I wanted something that had kind of these light elements and these dark elements and a kind of contrast. It's kind of like a call and response thing between those two. But yeah, if you don't know the song, it goes like this. I kind of want to run through each element that come in throughout the song. But first off, I thought it'd be cool to kind of go back to demo 1 and see how it changed, particularly for this one, because it changed a lot. So this is version 1. So, as you can probably hear, it doesn't share a lot of similarities. But the thing that really stuck with me in this demo was this vocal chop, which is just one I found hidden away somewhere. And yeah, I spent quite a while kind of messing around with it, throwing it in different ideas and trying to turn it into something that was bigger than just kind of a beat. And eventually I had a little epiphany when I reversed it, and you should recognize it when I do that. Just thought it sounded very kind of otherworldly and, don't know, very cool. So then I think I pretty much just took that. I think I took this kind of percussion sound, and that was really about it. And kind of just kept building on those. So I'll jump back over into the final project. Starts off pretty simple. Basically just a piano. It's kind of got some other very subtle elements to it. So it's got a pretty subtle like sine wave kind of synth under it, just to give it a little bit of extra oomph. It's got these kind of spacey vocal pads, which I purposely kind of chucked in, I think by the end, pretty much every track on the album. So that was kind of like my little element that I'd try to sprinkle in and to kind of make them, don't know, join up and share the same kind of world. So this is what this one sounds like. And apart from that, just got a bunch of effects, some wave stuff, a few other like little breaths and white noise and stuff. I don't know. I usually go fairly overboard with that and then have to turn it all down when I get to mixing. And of course, Isla's incredible vocals, which I did not have to do much to at all because they were so good. I distinctly remember being on the phone with my manager when I was all kind of piecing the album together, and she'd sent through this vocal, and I was just so excited. It kind of felt like it was finally nearing being done, because it's a track I'd been trying to find a vocal that worked on for so long, and then she just absolutely nailed it.
I could be anything you want.
So yeah, that's about it for that first verse. It got like some sub stuff coming in. Super subtle. A few kind of like rising effects going into this drop. The Nicky Romero riser. Classic. But yeah, the drop. It's hidden down here. I do remember starting it off with these. So I knew I wanted to like have some kind of ARP thing. And I found this sample. I think that changed quite a bit. But yeah. So I knew I wanted some kind of ARP like that, like the Porter Robinson, the kind of, don't know, Manion. So that was kind of what I remember it starting off, and I assume that's why it's at the top. Of course, like the noise as well. And then kind of just from that sample, I found kind of what that chord was and ran that through a whole bunch of supersaws. So when you run them on top of each other, it's kind of like forming most of the drop. And then I kind of made some of my own arpeggiators to kind of crazy it up a little bit. And I would have done what I tend to like doing, which is to kind of layer them a little bit. So I've got, let's have a look here. Yeah, so I've got kind of this low one that is just going up, and then I've got a higher one stacked on top, which looks like it's going like down and up. Yeah, so then, I don't know, I just find it adds like a bit of chaos. Like they're never really moving in parallel. They're always kind of doing something a bit random. So yeah, cool effect. What else have I got? Some LFO pads. Just some more fairly standard. Just some preset I found in Massive, obviously. A whole bunch of effects, bit of distortion, and a lot of layering, as always. I'll go through what I'm actually interested to see what each layer is here. There's one, an octave down, an octave up, an octave down. So it looks like I've got two slightly different kind of tweak the synths and then did an octave of each. some big boom and subs. And yeah, kind of like the bass. And I remember the basis of the bass. What was originally just there was his Prophet. So that's kind of like the main thing I want people to hear. Such a cool bass sound. I use this all the time. And then I've just kind of stacked up a few other things to give it a bit more oomph. And yeah, I think it's pretty impactful when it's kind of got these stabs in the arps that all kind of gels together nicely. And then, of course, it's the call and response bit. So we've got that same vocal chop from before, just run it through some EQ and some reverb. And yeah, fairly straightforward. What else? I've obviously kind of like probably fairly late in the process, I've added this vocal pad, which would have just been to add a little bit more oomph to those pads. Probably trying to widen it as well. Yeah, I've done this trick which I tend to do, which is to delay the right channel by around 20 milliseconds, and that usually creates like a cool stereo effect. Other tricks. Setting that EQ to the moon. Done the same widening here. The sizzle preset in Ableton, stock reverb preset. I stand by it. I've kind of got all these variations of it that I've tweaked, and yeah, I use it everywhere. And then drums. So what have we got? Some kicks. I've kind of got like a bigger one and then a smaller one just to give it a little bit more power. Got the big old hard snare. So good. I'm so late to the party on some of these samples that everyone's been using, but I got really addicted to them. So it was like the bamboo snare. So good. I don't know. I love adding it as a layer. It just makes everything sound nice and organic. And then just a couple other little snare layers all together. They sound like this. And then a whole bunch of toms. So these little fills is just a chopped up fill sample I found. And what I've done here is I've gone into the beats warping in Ableton and shortened them. So if you click this one and you go this one-way one here at the top, if you cut down the sample size, it won't loop the sample at all. So it'll actually cut it shorter. So I tend to use this a lot to kind of add emphasis to drums, kind of make little weird glitchy sounds with synths and all that kind of stuff. It's a good trick if you're making this kind of music. So I've layered these toms everywhere. I'm pretty sure these were the same toms, or very similar toms I used leading up to the chorus and calling. These were toms that I played, so I've just loaded up this sample and then actually played a bunch of different pitches. And you can see it's all not in time at all. So that was literally me just smashing a keyboard with these toms. But I thought, I'm just going to leave it like it is. It sounds pretty organic, and yeah. Now I have to play it live. Just a whole bunch of shakers and different little percussion elements to add a bit more excitement to everything. Not sure what this one is. One that didn't make the cut. Kind of a pointless one. Yeah, there's that same click percussion sound from the first demo. That's really about all that survived, except I know that this rolling drum loop, which was in the original demo as well, it's very like lo-fi kind of hip-hop drum beat. I converted that to MIDI with Ableton and kind of used that as the basis for the kicks, which is why there's kind of like these little ghost kicks that are quite offbeat and stuff. So it's kind of bringing that hip-hop rhythm and stuff into a more electronic kind of sound. But yeah, that's about it for this track. I hope it could teach you something. If you enjoyed it, go give it a stream on Spotify.